We are live. We are live. We are live. It's 12 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I see a few people have already jumped on stream. What's up, Kenneth? Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody else is doing well. Today is Saturday, Slay Security Plus. We are back. I'm a little under the weather, so you have to excuse my throat. I'm drinking I got multiple teas here. That's our beverage sponsor, is a couple teas. I think those will help get us through the stream. We are Slay Security Plus, man. It is good to be back. This is an echoey room. It's a brand new living space. So we're getting used to the echo and getting used to a few things. What is up, Space Tacos? Oh, it's good to see you. I got Toasty Pops in the house. It's a Cosmic Cowboy. That is right. If this is your very first time joining us, my name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy. And here for the next hour or so, we're going to crush some Security Plus practice questions. I'm going to be joined here momentarily by special guest DJ BSEC as he prepares to take his CISSP. Well, he's going to jump on with us and help us crush some Security Plus questions. How is everybody doing out there? I don't know what the turnout is going to be like today, as normally, when we are normally streaming on Saturdays, it is at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I got some family obligations this evening, and so we're doing an early stream. I said I'd be here, and I want to stick to that because that's what we do. You're only as good as your word. You're only as good as your word, kid. Oh, my throat is jacked. Let's go. Slay Security Plus, sponsored by Celestial Seasonings. That's right. I got a green tea here and a whatever, Echinacea Immune System Builder Blend. Get myself situated here to stream. How is everybody? How's everybody's weekend? How's everybody's fall treating them? Drop in chat how you're doing. How's your journey in certifications, whether it's Security Plus or CISSP or Certified in Cybersecurity or whatever you have going on. Let us know how your journey is treating you. I'm having deja vu right now, which is really strange. All right. Chess Coach Net, what is going on? My day is great now. Passed the test this morning. Let's go. Congratulations on passing. I am low-key studying for CISA Plus every day as I drive to work and while I'm at work. I'm doing the Security Operations Center 101 certification from TCM. And slowly building up to take the CISSP maybe next year. I was going to try for it this year, but I think we're going to have to push that till next year, which is fine. All right. If this is your first time here, this is what we do. We jump into live Security Plus questions using only the industry standards best Security Plus questions. In my opinion, the Professor Messer series, I think he has some of the best and the closest to the actual Security Plus questions. We've also been using the CompTIA Cert Master Learn Security Plus questions because we think those look pretty solid too. Got another comment coming in chat. Hey, Jesse, thank you so much for you guys. I took my Security Plus 2 weeks ago and I knocked it out. I give SlaySec Plus big credit for that. Mike and Nam coming in hot. That is awesome. Woo! That makes me happy to hear. Good stuff. Good stuff. Space Tacos working on the Steve McMichael for the Accolade certification course. Awesome. Steve McMichael was on a live stream with Jerry, and he mentioned Slay Security Plus out of nowhere, which I thought was quite flattering. That was awesome. So, Steve McMichael, thanks for that. It wasn't even like a preconceived shout out. He was just mentioning some resources that are out there, and he dropped our name, which is pretty cool. I see Agent 57 in chat. How is everyone? Everyone is doing well. Rocking the new location, hanging out. ZMF, what is going on? Good to see you in chat. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let me get a sip of tea, and then let's thank our session sponsor, and then we're gonna launch right into some questions. Got my trusted SEC bracelet on. I need to reach out to them. They were interested in collabing on some Slay Security Plus. You know how life gets. You know, time is the killer of all deals, so I better jump on that. Space Taco saying, happy Saturday, y'all. It is a happy Saturday indeed. It is a beautiful 40-some degrees here where I live in Western Colorado. Slay Security Plus is partly sponsored by Simply Cyber. So let's pay some bills and jump right back into the live stream.
Are you feeling lost in the vast world of cybersecurity, overwhelmed by technical jargon and confusing career paths? You're not alone. That's why I built Simply Cyber. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier. Come join Simply Cyber, your supportive and inclusive community for navigating the exciting world of cyber. There's so much to take advantage of. Master the skills you need with Simply Cyber Academy, offering in-depth courses aligned with the GRC analyst role. Never feel isolated. Connect with fellow cyber enthusiasts and professionals in our thriving Discord server. Ask questions, get feedback, share your journey. Check out the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, delivering insightful interviews. What are your thoughts around, web app pen testing as entry level? And I included bug bounty here because that's very accessible to everybody. Practical skill demos and daily cyber threat briefs, all hosted by industry experts. There's so much more to discover. Are you ready to join the community and empower your future? Visit simplycyber.io/socials for all the links and start your cyber adventure today.
Let's go. Thank you, Dr. Jerry Ozier, for all of your support, being a good friend, a mentor, and then a supporter of Slay Security Plus. We're going to jump right into some practice questions. Let's do it while we wait for our special guest, DJ Bisek, to get back. So I'm going to pick a category that I didn't get a chance to look over before going into today's session. We're going to jump back into, we're actually going to redo Lesson 5, Securing Enterprise Network Architecture. It looks like we got a 71% last time. That could be because we missed some questions, or because we didn't do too hot. So this will be a great chance to refine our answers. Let me get some sound, I'm gonna acoustically treat this room here coming up. Let's reset the questions. Yes. Let me know if the music is too loud or it's distracting and we can get rid of it. I like having music for when I have to think of what to say. It's not, as we used to say in radio, dead silence or dead air. Mike and Nim saying, thanks guys, I'll be here also to contribute to others' journey in any way I can. Well, we appreciate it. That is a big part of cybersecurity, is being able to give back however you can with what we have, right? All right, let's get right into it. See if I can make this any larger. Here we go. All right, here we go. The network administrator in an organization is reinforcing the security measures of the company's enterprise infrastructure, with key focus on port security in an environment with dynamic port usage, where different applications request ports on an ad hoc basis. The administrator must consider the most secure method of assigning and managing these ports to mitigate security risks. To ensure the enterprise infrastructure optimally, what key measures should the network administrator prioritize in terms of port security? A, keeping all ports open to ensure application functionality. B, implementing a dynamic port allocation and management system. C, assigning all applications a static port number. And D, blocking all incoming and outgoing connections on all ports. Go ahead and drop your answers in chat. We'll take a little bit of time, but drop your answers in chat. Excuse me, that's gross. No one wants to hear that. I am uber congested though. Let's do a little bit of process of elimination, which is a great way to tackle these questions. Keeping all ports open to ensure application functionality. All ports open. Aren't we trained and taught in cybersecurity to close all unnecessary ports and disable all services and protocols to lower our attack surface? I don't think it's A. blocking all incoming and outgoing connections on all ports. In an environment with dynamic port usage where different applications request different ports on an ad hoc basis, well, that wouldn't do any good because then we're going to be limiting all business functionality of this organization. So that leaves us between B and C. B is implementing a dynamic port allocation and management system, and C is assigning all applications a static port number. D would cripple everything. A would cripple everything if you're hacked. Assigning all applications a static port number, well, that wouldn't work. It could, but I feel like we're reducing the functionality where we need dynamic port usage, where different applications request different ports on an ad hoc basis. So let's say we have a port that's requesting 443, and we just have a static one set on 5,532. You know, unless you have your HTTP traffic going through that port, you're not going to get anything, right? That service won't be there. And so, yeah, we would have zero functionality if we did something like that. If we did assigning all applications a static port number. I guess we could just have HTTPS open and route all traffic through HTTPS. I don't think that would be very safe, nor would it be functional or efficient. I'm going to go with B. Final answer. Let's go. So we know the correct answer is implementing that dynamic port allocation and management system aids in optimizing security by reducing the attack surface, as the system only opens the ports when needed and promptly closes them when not in use. As we discussed, keeping all ports open to ensure application functionality would create an excessively large attack surface. Literally the words that came out of my mouth. Again, same thing we just talked about. Assigning applications a static port number can lead to higher risk of port conflict and does not effectively reduce the attack surface. And then blocking all incoming and outgoing connections on all ports would prevent the necessary network and render the network useless and then inhibit business, right? It all comes down to that bottom line. A company is deciding between migrating its infrastructure to a cloud-based model or maintaining its traditional network architecture. The Chief Technology Officer, or CTO, lists several security considerations for both methods. The security analyst identified the considerations inherently tied to the cloud-based models due to its distinct nature. Based on its unique characteristics, which security considerations are closely associated with cloud-based architecture? And here we're going to choose two best options. A, firmware update regularly across all devices. B, shared responsibility between service providers and customers. D, data encryption during transit and between internal nodes. And D, dependency on service providers' infrastructure for physical hardware security. They have this one rated as difficult. See a few people in class saying B and D. So shared responsibility between service providers and customers, excuse me. We know that shared responsibility matrix is something that is very prominent to cloud-based architecture. So I do like B. Firmware update regularly across all devices. That's not typically something we see associated with the cloud environment, as that's handled by the cloud service provider. So we can scratch off A. So we're left between B and either C or D. ZMF says 20 de-energizers. Remember those commercials? That bunny hitting the drums. I've been listening to a lot of metal lately. How about cough? I do need to cough. B and D. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. So let me process with you. When we think about a cloud environment, something that's very important is the data encryption. So that data doesn't just stay internally on your in-house servers, right? On your in-house file share, your in-house web traffic, right? We do know that when data moves from your location to the cloud, it's got to get there, whether it's fiber optic, whether it's a wireless signal, whether it's good old copper. We call that data in transit or data in motion, right? So that data has to go somewhere. And wouldn't it be crummy if your data, your PHI, let's say, or your credit card numbers, were not encrypted between your location and the cloud service provider's location, and somebody was able to intercept that traffic? That would be really crummy. And another issue I think that we may be misreading, and I'm not trying to give the answer away because I honestly don't know if it's C or D. I'm just processing. This is how I would process during a test. Is during transit between internal nodes. So when I think internal nodes, data encryption during transit between internal nodes. Is that internal nodes on the cloud service provider's part? Because the cloud service provider is going to be holding your data along with other people's data on nodes, right? Nodes are just like points where you can reach. A computer could be a node. Or is it D, dependency on the service provider's infrastructure for better physical hardware security? ZMF asks, by the way, how's the new job, JJ? The new job is amazing. It is extremely, well, I have a commute. And my boss said yesterday, hey, once we get some vulnerability management in place and get some of these numbers down and get a cybersecurity awareness training model ready for next year, you can have a couple days, 1 or 2 days hybrid at home, which is awesome. Learning an absolute ton. Stuff they do teach you in certifications really helped. I'm also, in charge of implementing a lot of solutions. And so right now I'm working with CrowdStrike, which I probably shouldn't be giving that information away, but I apologize. We are working with a large cybersecurity company who is well known in the industry. And then working with some of our IPS systems, getting those fine-tuned, and then also implementing some secure email gateway concepts, and then getting on a roadmap to compliance. And so I do handle some of the GRC, GRC mafia. I do handle some of the GRC concepts. Really, it's all on me to get us on some kind of a framework, and then use that framework and get us on a roadmap to get in compliance. Then there's assessments and testing. So I do get to do some penetration tests internally on our Active Directory environment, and then look at possibly filling. I would love to promote here in the next 3 months, and then get somebody to fill kind of my role. And then I would help oversee and get a little bit of a cyber team. Space Taco says, can I share my job title? Absolutely. My job title is cybersecurity specialist. So I'm a specialist. I kind of dabble in all of the different realms for our company. So we know it's B. All right, I'm going to go on record saying that I think it's C, but I'm going to go with what class said with B and D. Although the reason I think it's C, in case I'm wrong, and it is B and D, is because I wonder if they mean internal nodes in the cloud, like the cloud service provider's closet. B and D. To infinity and beyond. Good job, class. Slay. Cloud-based architecture often uses a shared responsibility model or matrix where the service provider and the customer have distinct roles in ensuring the system security. Cloud architecture is often placed the responsibility of physical hardware management and security on the service provider, differentiating it from traditional models where the company is responsible for its own physical hardware. The incorrect answer is regularly updating firmware as a standard security practice applicable to both cloud and traditional network architecture. It is not unique to cloud models. And we see here the question does ask, based on its unique characteristics, which security considerations are more closely associated with cloud-based models? Okay, data encryption during transit is a fundamental security concern for both cloud and network architectures. Good job, class. All right, moving on. I see our special guest in the green room. Looks like he's munching down on some Qdoba, some Chipotle, Jimmy John's, something like that. We'll let him get that bite digested and put down his gullet, and then we're going to jump on stream. Moving on, question number whatever. The security manager at a multinational enterprise is devising a plan to enhance the physical security of the organization's data center. The data center hosts critical infrastructure, and a security breach could severely impact operations. The security manager aims to apply appropriate physical isolation principles to secure the infrastructure. What critical strategy should the security manager employ to enhance the data center's physical security through effective physical isolation? A, implement biometric security measures on all entry points. B, install closed-circuit TV surveillance across the office building. C, establish separate secure areas for network equipment. Or D, increase the number of physical security guards. We're going to bring on our special guest, ladies and gentlemen. You know him from the Simply Cyber daily moderation, Jaw Jack, and you also know him as a DJ popular on Twitch. He's got his own life and his own channel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one, the only DJ Bisek.
Hey.
Hey. How was lunch?
It's sitting in front of me.
Do you want a minute to eat and bring you back on?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm used to doing this.
How about you've done this for so long? I can't eat. I have a hard time eating what's supposed to be hot food once it's cold. Once you have kids, you don't get to eat hot food anymore, though. So.
No. And this isn't supposed to be hot anyway, so.
What'd you get? Burrito bowl?
Yep.
That's what I usually get. What kind of meat?
I just got chicken this time.
Nice. DJ Bisek in the house. Agent 57 says.
Yeah, there were a couple people. I jumped on stream earlier today, on Twitch to make sure, because I got a new computer, a ridiculous computer, so I can do all kinds of stuff on it. And I jumped on, and Base was on, so Base and a couple other people jumped on the stream with me, so I could get all my audio working correctly.
Base case.
And we may do a stream tonight. We'll see.
Okay, like a cybersecurity stream or a fun stream?
Oh no, we're gonna have some fun. Because after I get done here with you, then I got to go do CISSP, and then gotta take some time for myself at some point.
At some point, you got kids and family.
Yeah,
your kids are older though, so.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do we think on this question?
It's a long question. You really need to read into it.
The data center hosts critical infrastructure, and a security breach could severely impact operations. The security manager aims to apply appropriate physical isolation principles to secure the infrastructure. What critical strategy should the security manager employ to enhance the data center's physical security through effective physical isolation?
Yeah, isolation is the big one.
The only thing...
There's only one on there that's isolating things.
Which is establish separate secure areas for network equipment.
Yep. That's what you got to do when you read these questions. You need to read them, maybe read them again. Then you got to go through. So all this test taking stuff, especially for CISSP, you have to go and read through, because like on CISSP, all 4 answers are good answers. Like they're all the right answer. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, which one is actually the most correct? And what you got to do is tear those answers down and see, does one answer fit inside of another?
Right, and here with Security Plus, we're thinking like an analyst, we're thinking like an engineer, maybe. At the level of CISSP, you're thinking like a manager. What is the best solution that keeps the business going and keeps the bottom line where it's supposed to be, and spends the less money?
And that's what this question is breaking down, because it's saying the security manager is looking for something. Right. So I'm going to go with C on this.
I'm going to go with C as well. I think the rest of the class, we got a few dissenters, but we'll see. Okay, let's run through why I don't believe A is correct. It's because implementing biometric security measures at all entry points would be really expensive.
And it doesn't do anything
and you're not doing anything to isolate the data center, which the question specifically says. Data center is physical security through effective physical isolation. A biometric security measure at all entry points only prohibits that person from those points, but once they get in, then your data center is still free range. So I'm going to go with C. I like it. Let's see what the survey says. Boom.
Ta-da!
So the reason A was not incorrect, but always throw your answer in here, because that's how you learn, is by being incorrect, right? Implementing biometric security measures at all entry points can improve security, but does not specifically address physical isolation within the data center itself. And then, of course, answer C, establishing separate secure areas for network equipment is a fundamental aspect of physical isolation, going back to the question which asked us about isolation, right? Closed circuit TV could watch. You could be like, oh, look, there's people breaking into our data center. Sweet. You probably should get down there and do something about it.
And I tell you what, that's one of the answers on CISSP. It just screws you up, is closed circuit TV.
Really?
Yeah, because they're always asking about what it is. Is it
preventative?
A detection? Is it a
deterrent? Is it preventative? Yeah. Is it a technical control? Well, it's in context of what the question is asking you.
It's actually for that. It's always a detection. It's never a deterrent.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because it's used to detect things.
Nice.
Just because the camera's there does not mean it's going to deter somebody.
Right. Most people are just like, or whatever, middle finger to the camera, keep doing what I'm doing.
I'm like, but a deterrent, like, I guess that's because I have a decency of looking at them going, hey, I don't want them to actually see my face. So therefore that deters me.
I'm not going to do anything. Here we go. The IT department in a large multinational corporation faces challenges managing secure communications for remote desktop connections. That is a common problem. The increasing number of remote employees has made it essential to ensure that their remote desktop connections are secure. The IT department is considering various measures to establish secure connection. Given the challenges the corporation faces, what approach should the IT department adopt to ensure secure communications for remote desktop connections while maintaining the manageability and performance of the enterprise infrastructure?
Totally.
All that, right. A, implement transport layer security for all remote desktop connections. B, disable the firewall rules for remote desktop connections. C, establish virtual private network tunnels without encryption protocols. Or D, enable open access to remote desktop connections for manageability. Agent 57 wants us to read that one again. We can do that. The IT department in a large multinational corporation faces challenges managing secure communications for remote desktop connections. The increasing number of remote employees has made it essential to ensure that their remote desktop connections are secure. The IT department is considering various measures to establish secure communication. Given the challenges the corporation faces, what approach should the IT department adopt to ensure secure communications for remote desktop connections while also maintaining the manageability and performance of the enterprise infrastructure?
So this is a 14-page paragraph to basically say, hey, we've got remote users. How are we going to get them to connect securely?
Yep. Absolutely, Agent 57. B-Sec, how do you see this one?
There's only one answer for this one. I think it's funny that it says establish a virtual private network without encryption protocols.
Disable all firewall rules for remote desktop connections? Well, that wouldn't work, would it? Because wouldn't that defeat the purpose of having a remote desktop connection of some kind? Now, granted, there are services that don't use, this question doesn't specifically say, 3389. There are other services that don't use 3389 for remote desktop or for remoting in.
Yeah, so this whole thing is basically saying, how are we going to connect these users, or how these users are going to be connected and be secure? So does A do that? Can we implement transport layer security for all remote desktop connections? If we implement transport layer security, which means what? TLS?
TLS 1.3 right now, I think.
So does TLS have encryption in it? That would be a way to secure it. B, if we disable all the firewall rules, I don't think that's going to be too secure.
No.
C's a great one until you get to the last part of it where it says we're going to set up a VPN and not have any encryption. And then D, you don't necessarily want to open remote desktop access just for manageability.
Right. Again, free range. Oh, what up? We got IT career questions in the house.
Look at this guy showing up on a Saturday.
What is up, Zach Hill? I hope you're doing well, man. I miss your face.
Oh, yeah, you missed it yesterday. He was there for backdoors and breaches.
Oh, yeah, I have. That is okay. So somebody asked me how my new job is. Love the job. Love being quote unquote in the industry. In some ways, the journey into the industry was more fun. And I say that because I got to be way more involved. I was able to be on the Simply Cyber Threat Brief every morning, doing jaw jacking here and there, kind of being on everybody's live stream that was on during the day, jumping on the Black Hills information, the anti-siphon trainings every day that were live. Now that I have an hour commute, I'm leaving during Cyber Brief. There's no way I can do jaw jacking anymore. And so then by the time I get home, everybody's done with the day. So that's the one thing. I'm paying my dues at this job, and then I'm going to push for more freedom, because that's the thing I miss the absolute most, is the ability to just freely connect and pour back into the community and be available. So I'm just using this time right now to pay my dues and trying my hardest not to compare myself with people that either don't have children,
100%,
or working fully remote, that have the ability to, like, I'm not allowed to have Discord on my workstation. That's my rule that I implemented, because they're really, it's just not good. And then when everybody has it, right? So I can't really have Discord and a lot of the things, and I can't be on my phone jaw jacking during the middle of the shift. I'm supposed to be clearing alerts. We're busy. Like, I clock in and it is clearing alerts, implementing, checking. I get my hour lunch, and I take a few breaks here and there to jump on once in a while. When I get to work, I like to work. I don't want to be goofing off. Hey, Jenny Housley in chat. Boy, this is a party.
And it really is hard once you're actually in the thick of it, doing stuff at work. It's hard to move over to do something else,
like fun,
and then try and come back and remember what you were doing. And
right, especially if it's technical, like when you're really trying to be detail oriented, and that's a good thing. Comparison is the thief of joy. I agree 100%. So I love my job. I'm thankful to have it. It's an absolute blast to be fully in the thick of cybersecurity. My only takeaway is the commute, and then how it kind of pulled me out of the community. And that's why we switched Slay Security Plus to Saturdays, because it's the time that I can give back and connect with you all. So we're here. Enough of that. Let's get back to the question.
I think everybody seems as though they're on A, and I think that's kind of where I'm leaning as well.
Yeah, the network tunnels without encryption protocols just doesn't sound right. If it was just establish a VPN, well, that would be pretty obvious. Disabling firewall rules, that wouldn't make any sense. that's just going to increase our attack surface. Establish a VPN would be great.
The whole without encryption throws it out the window because it's asking for something secure.
Right.
So
let's go. Yep, I've heard that, Toasty Pops, from people that I've asked that are fully remote. I'm like, how are you working all this and able to be on Discord all the time? And the people that I asked, they said, well, I have my work computer right by my personal computer, and I can, I've got Discord on. So it's easy for them. Easier. All right, we're going with A. Survey says, boom. TLS provides secure communication for remote desktop connections by encrypting the data transmitted between the end user and the remote desktop server, reducing the risk of data breaches. Establishing a VPN for all users without encryption does not provide secure communications, exactly what Ben said. While VPN tunnels provide a layer of security, the data transmitted is still vulnerable to interception, and breaches without encryption. Move along. An organization's flat network segment currently hosts mailbox server, a client network, and a mail transfer server, all of which need enhanced security. Which design best segregates the network according to the OSI model and secure architecture principles to mitigate vulnerabilities? A. Segregate with VLANs and control inter-VLAN traffic with ACLs or access control lists. B. Monitor the mail server with a WAF or web application firewall at the application layer. C. Strengthen router ACLs and enable IPsec for data in transit. And D. Create a DMZ for the mail server and separate others with port security.
What's everybody think? Y'all throw your answers in there. I'm curious to see what people think. And there's no wrong answer.
Well, there is. There's all the wrong answers.
I mean, there's wrong answers, but
but no, when you're in the learning phase and you're just throwing answers out there, please, just throw your answer in chat. So we know
ZMF, you're asking who uses VPN without encryption. So VPN tunnels are set up, and you can just have them in tunnel mode without encryption in the tunnel. Granted, most people put encryption within that tunnel, but you can set up VPNs, and at that point, all you're trying to do is make a connection between two sites. You're not worried about what's going through it.
Right. And you can also have split tunnel VPNs where part of your traffic is encrypted and part of it's not. Does everybody remember the two types of encryption for a VPN? One of them is actually mentioned in this question. IPsec. So the question is asking us, we know what a flat network is. If you're brand new to the industry or you're not 100% sure, a flat network where everything is just on the same, it's all being routed through basically the same LAN or local area network. There's no segmentation of, there's no subnetting going on, right? Everything's just on the 10.10.50. And then from there, all of your IPs are between that range of 1 and 254. You've got all these different devices. There's just no segmentation. It's a flat network. One of the things that we see that helps prevent lateral movement or pivoting once and there's an initial access into a network is having that segmentation. So let's say my finance department is hacked, right? The hacker gets on, the threat actor gets on. Well, they do a scan and they can't see anything else, just that they're in this area. Well, maybe I have got my database server on a different VLAN, a different subnet, right? And so flat networks are old school. We don't want to have a flat network. Monitor the mail server with a WAF at the application layer. Does nothing to segment, right? This question is asking us which redesign option best segregates the network according to the OSI model and secure architecture principles to mitigate vulnerabilities.
There's a key word in here is redesign. You don't have to take what you have and fix it. You can redesign it. And if you're going to redesign a flat network,
To me, there's only
real
one.
Easy.
There's only one answer that.
Yeah.
Right, and I can see how these other ones would trip you up, right? Like D, create a DMZ for the mail server and separate others with port security. That separate others with port security kind of throws you off a little bit because the word separate, but having port security doesn't actually segregate anything.
Yeah, and believe it or not, to do that, you're going to need multiple external IP addresses because you can't use the same port. Either that or you're going to use that and change and add port forwarding in there or do some weird stuff in there to yeah.
I don't know about you, Ben, but I go with A. What do you think?
Yeah. That's the only way that you're going to say. If somebody walks in with this question to me into a room and says, hey, how do we fix this? I'll give you carte blanche. You can redesign it. We're putting VLANs in, and you control it with inter VLAN routing using ACLs. And inter VLAN routing just means kind of like what Jesse was talking about. You have VLAN 1, VLAN 2, and VLAN 3. Everything on VLAN 1 cannot get to 2 and 3, and 2 can't get to 1 or 3, and 3 can't get to 1 or 2. But if you need them to access each other, you can set up ACL rules, or you can set up inter VLAN routing. So maybe 1 can get to 3.
Or a service on 3.
Or a service over there on 3, right?
Putting on 3. So
a printer over on 3.
Yep. Boom. VLANs with ACLs create secure segments, providing effective internal traffic control without affecting other layers. This approach not only enhances network performance, but also significantly improves security by isolating different network segments. Whew. A WAF secures web traffic at the application layer, but does not segregate the network to limit access or visibility between services. Router ACLs and IPsec enhance security, but do not change the flat network structure, leaving segmentation issues unaddressed. And then again, a DMZ with port security isolates external facing devices, adding a layer of protection without altering internal network access, but we're not really segmenting the rest of it. These are pretty decent questions lately, honestly.
Yeah, these are good.
I feel like they changed them from the last time we did this. Oh, you can hit the done practicing thing? Cool, that's new. I think they changed it on the back end since the last time we used it, team.
Updated.
All right. A security analyst at a large organization aims to minimize the attack surface. To reach this goal, the analyst seeks to reduce the vulnerabilities an attacker can exploit, decrease the amount of code in use, and limit system interactions. Which strategy should the security analyst implement to achieve the objective effectively? A, install the latest antivirus software. B, increase the complexity of user passwords. C, implement the principle of least privilege. Or D, replace the wireless network with a wired network. These are really interesting answers. On reread, a security analyst at a large organization aims to minimize the attack surface. To reach this goal, the analyst seeks to reduce vulnerabilities the attacker can exploit, decrease the amount of code in use, and limit system interactions. That's key. Which strategy should the security analyst implement to achieve the objective effectively? And just like with CISSP, because I'm slowly but surely studying for it as well, if you see an answer that knocks out like multiple things they're asking you for in the question, 9 times out of 10, that is going to be your answer, right? So installing the latest antivirus software, that might eliminate some vulnerabilities that are within your environment, but it's not going to do anything to decrease the amount of code that's in use or limit system interactions. If you increase the complexity of user passwords, that doesn't really do anything here to address what this is asking specifically, which is these 3 things.
I mean, doing that kind of
maybe with
reduces the vulnerabilities of an attacker.
Sure,
they can't exploit the password, but
the password, but it doesn't do anything about the code in use. It really doesn't do anything to limit system interactions unless you've got your passwords set up, depending on what your organization looks like. If it's federated, single sign-on, that kind of stuff. Replacing the wireless network with a wired network. Sure, if you're running WPA and you can't have access to like updated wireless technologies,
You better not plug all the ports in, because then somebody can just go plug in somewhere.
C reaches out to me. Implement the principle of least privilege. That's the one that stands out to me because it addresses some of the vulnerabilities an attacker can exploit. Let's say that you start implementing the principle of least privilege, meaning that if you're, let's say you used to set everybody up with a user account that also had administrative rights. And so just your basic Sally and accounting can make changes to the domain. Well, now you've got an issue with maybe some Kerber roasting or some golden key attacks in your environment. But if you apply that principle of least privilege, that vulnerability of the user permissions is now limited, right? If you have least privilege, then maybe the code won't be used for everything within the environment and only limited to the things that it's allowed to access. And then if you have least privilege, you're going to also be limiting system interactions because the system will only be interacting with other systems that it has been deemed or has been qualified by the professionals to access the services that it's supposed to. What do you think, Dan? What do you think?
Oh, it's C.
Okay. Boom. Yep. So we nailed it.
Go take this test instead of CISSP because this one's so much like I know that off the top of my head. There's not gotcha. This isn't like a gotcha. Like CISSP would have given you something like implement the least privilege.
Right.
Create groups for people.
Right.
All these things.
Integrate a complex password policy with a secure lifecycle development. It's just like
because it's talked about somewhere and about making the code. It would have been like implement best practices for SDLC.
Right.
What?
To be fair, at my work, they won't let you access certain apps without a wireless with a wireless connection. I like that.
That's interesting. So then I would assume the only way they're doing that is they actually have that VLAN off so they know what network you're on. Because your traffic's not just going to go, hey, they're from the wireless side.
Yeah. I just had a bit of a pushback because we're limiting the amount of USB on some devices, especially at the C-suite level and in the admin level. They love to get their PowerPoints downloaded from home and put them on a USB stick and throw them on. But they're also, this isn't everybody. We have a wonderful team, but I have seen a few people that have a propensity to be curious with devices. And so we're limiting the USB and executables that a person can use.
Yeah, I have it set so anybody can use a USB drive, but if you shove it in the machine, number one, it
doesn't do auto run.
And number two, for you to actually use it, it has to be encrypted. So if you have something on there on one of our machines and there's something on it, it's not going to start. And then for you to actually use it, you've got to run encryption on it.
I like that. Okay, this one says difficulty level expert.
All right.
Yeah, a security team in a multinational organization decides to improve the security of their inter-office communications. So within, they agree to use a tunneling protocol that can offer confidentiality, sender authentication, and message integrity. They need a protocol that operates at the network level. Which protocol best fulfills the team's requirements for securing inter-office communications and operates at the network level? That reminds me, I'll just pause really quick. Remember when we were getting ready for dinner, BSEC at Wild West Hack and Fest during the quiz? And they asked about the levels of the OSI model, and Jerry and I both bombed it, and you were like, guys, the answer is literally in the question or whatever.
I wish I would have answered that stuff. I had a feeling I would have coming out really well on that. It seemed like I got a lot of this stuff right. So first off, when you read this question, know your OSI model it's asking you for the network level. So what level are we at? Where in the OSI model are we? We're going to be at level 3. So what's running at level 3? So does HTTPS run at level 3? No, that's up in the application layer. Internet protocol security. That's IPsec. Where does that run at? Maybe a level 3.
Do they mean the network level of the OSI model? In this
It says the network level. Operates at the network level.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
Right? HTTPS. That doesn't run at the application layer, does it?
HTTPS?
Is it at the application layer? Is it level 7? Okay. Big shout out. I know you're not listening casually, Joseph, but nice job passing your Siza Plus this morning.
Did he pass?
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume he would anyway. Yeah.
It's either TLS or IPsec. Use a tunneling protocol. The only, well, I guess you can create a tunnel that's secured with TLS. This is a tough question.
I'm gonna. So, IPsec is one of those where we talk about: is it at the network layer, or is it the transport layer? If you're in the industry and you're in networking, you call it at layer 3.5 because it's right there in the middle. I think the only one on here that's going to give us something is probably going to be C.
I cheated because I wasn't sure. I looked what layer IPsec runs on.
Layer 3.
Layer 3. Which makes sense.
3.5-ish because it's actually right in between. Right. It's like making the connection and doing the transport. So everybody always says it's 3.5. So everybody go with Jesse's cheating, and we'll say that it's C.
Well, all these folks said C before I cheated.
I don't know. We got some D's down there.
Yeah.
Not that we're calling anybody out, Z-Myth. Let's see what to say. So transport layer operates at the transport layer, primarily focusing on security. So IPsec would cover all of these. No. IPsec, I don't know what that means. Cover all of them?
Like it's doing exactly what the answer says. IPsec provides confidentiality, sensor authentication, and message integrity functions. So yes, it covers those.
Yeah, because you're going to put your AH header in there. That's going to get your
authentication header.
Yeah, that's going to get your authentication there. Then you're going to put for confidentiality. What do you need to put in confidentiality? You're going to have AES over the top of that thing, so it's going to be secure going across. So, and
then what's the other tunneling? Is it encapsulation?
For the message integrity.
Yeah, encapsulation.
I mean, you're going to be encapsulated through the tunnel.
Cool.
Yeah, and exactly what Steve Williams says. Tunneling was the key word in that last one.
Me too.
As it said tunneling, I was like IPsec.
Even if I missed the network level part, the tunneling was the one that led me to IPsec. C. Williams 1092. Welcome to Slate Security Plus. Good to see you. This may be my second to last question. My physical ability. I feel like Mike Tyson last night is slowly degrading.
Anybody
watch that? It was just like a quick rant. We watched all the fights last night.
And it was such crap.
The only good fight was that Katie Taylor and Amanda Seriano fight.
No way, dude. The second fight
was good too.
Was good. The second they beat the hell out of each other. That was probably one of the best fights matches I've seen in a long time.
Jake Paul's 100% pulling his punches.
Yeah, Tyson only landed 18. He threw 60 punches in 8 rounds. I mean, talk about pulling a punch. He hit him once, and you saw Jake Paul like, oh shit, like don't get back in there and get hit. And you saw the way that he worked, Tyson worked out and everything. That was total. Like, hey.
And the people that were watching, they were so quiet because they didn't want to boo Mike Tyson, but they were expecting him to do something. They did hug out afterwards, and you know what? Whether you hate or whatever, Jake Paul, he was very respectful at the end. I had nothing but good things to say about Mike Tyson, which was awesome. No kidding, C. Williams.
Everybody learned
the real fight was Netflix versus the servers.
Yeah. Well, the real fight were the users versus the servers. And all that proved that was one of the things I kept telling everybody is Netflix did this so they could, it was 100% a promotion of everything so they could get the largest amount of people to watch and find out this was their test run because they're supposed to have NFL on Christmas Day.
Oh, come on.
On Christmas, yeah, the Texans are supposed to play on Netflix on Christmas Day. And if it happens like that and we can't actually watch football,
we're going to have a revolt.
The thing was, is you could, if you finally got your connection to work and you stayed on there and you stayed behind the live feed, like perfect. About 15 to 20 seconds behind the live feed, you were fine.
That's what we did.
But you couldn't get ahead.
No.
So, all right,
moving on. As part of a new hire orientation, a software technician explores the makeup of the organization's network infrastructure. When reviewing used network applications and protocols, what provides a bridge between cable network and wireless hosts or stations? A, wireless access points, B, switches, C, routers, or D, transport protocol?
I already have a problem with this. Why in the world do we have a software technician worried about the network? Why do we got developers running around trying to figure out the network? Come on.
Well, let's just pretend that it's just an IT security guy or girl, human or robot, whatever, man. The main question is, what provides a bridge between cable network and wireless hosts?
What's the difficult level on this?
It says expert. I disagree. We know it's not a switch, and we know it's not transport protocol. It's either a wireless access point or a router. And I don't think it's a router either. I mean, the answer, wireless access point, are what you connect to, which then gets you on it's wired in. It goes from either a switch or a router somewhere.
So what's going to throw you off as a network person is that they're saying it provides a bridge, because a bridge and a router kind of do the same thing. Right. So you're going to be like, whoa.
Right.
Maybe it's a router. So
D is a lark. I agreed. All right, let's send it with A.
See, we're experts.
We are slaying these questions, though.
Have we missed one yet?
Nope. And the class hasn't missed any, really. In fact, they corrected me before you got on. I would have gotten one wrong if it wasn't for the class. Wireless access points provide a bridge between cable network and wireless hosts or stations. Access points work at layer 2 of the OSM model. Wireless devices also use MAC addresses or media access control addressing at layer 2. Remember, the MAC address is tied to all of the devices. The first part of the MAC address identifies the manufacturer, and the rest is a unique identifier for that network interface card. It can be spoofed. They can be changed. But at the end of the day, that's what a MAC address is. Switches forward frames between nodes in a cable network. A network adapter in each host is connected to the switch via a cable, so that wouldn't. Routers send packets around in a network, making forwarding decisions based on the internet addresses. Routers work at layer 3 of the OSI model. And transport protocols allows clients to exchange data within application servers. The transmission protocol, or TCP, establishes reliable connections with the 4-way handshake. Everyone says 3, but technically it's 4. While the user data bearing protocol allows unreliable connectionless transfers. So everything you're watching on Netflix, all of this information coming to you right now is UDP.
Toasty Pops comes in and says APs do need to be connected to a router. APs don't have to be connected to a router, unless you are going outside of the specific network that you're on. Remember, you do not have to have a router in a LAN. And why do you not have to have a router in a LAN? because everything on the switch that you're connected to or whatnot, all those MAC addresses are put into tables, into forwarding tables and so forth. So you can find those, right? When you look on your machine and you do a ARP lookup on your machine knows everything on there. When a router comes into place is when it doesn't know where to go. And it goes, hey, who can get me somewhere? And it goes, I don't know anything on here, so I have this gateway to other places, so let me go there. So you could theoretically put up an access point and get on that wireless and connect to any machine that's on that LAN. If you want to get outside, you want to get to the internet and so forth, yes, you have to have a router, but you do not have to have a router to be able to connect stuff.
Preach. Jenny Housley, would a wireless access point have a cable to the router? The wireless access point has a cable typically going to a switch that would then go back to either an internal router or a gateway. But Toasty Pop asks, how does the access point manage routes to other nodes without a router?
So I just explained that. To get to other nodes, you don't have to have a router to get to other nodes. A router is put in place to get to nodes outside of your current LAN. So if I have LAN 1 and LAN 2, and I have a wireless access point on LAN 1, I can get to everything here without having a router. If I'm on an access point on LAN 2, I can get to anything and everything on LAN 2 without a router. But if I want to be on LAN 2, or let's say a home network and internet, for me to get there, I've got to have something to route me out. Right? You think about it as a lot of times they like to say, think of it as an intersection going down the road. You're on the road you're on, you can go up and down the road, right? Without a problem. No, you could turn around and go back down the road and then turn back around and come right back up to that intersection, turn around and go back. So any car that's on there can go up and down that road. But for it to cross that intersection, you got to talk to the little police officer in the middle of the intersection telling you that, oh, you need to take a right to go to this place, you need to take a left to go there, or you need to turn whatever other direction. But as long as you were on that road prior to that intersection, you were fine. You could spin around and do donuts and do whatever you want to on that road. You can't go onto the other roads without crossing that intersection.
Donuts. Thank you, B-Sec.
Donuts.
I was like, 857, we are slaying. We're absolutely slaying it today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my time, my availability here for Slate Security Plus. I got to jump on some family obligations. I want to give a huge shout out to all of you. You guys are the Security Plus Slayers. Thanks for coming back, returning after our 2-week hiatus. Outside of the big family holidays or anything that I have coming up, I got some oral surgeries that I'm getting taken care of. But outside of anything big, we should be back to our regular Saturday programming as usual with special guests. Love to get DJ B-Sec back in the mix when he's available. Maybe Casually Joseph, maybe some more of the mods. Love to get Zach Hill, Jenny Housley. And if you have an interest in being on Slate Security Plus, reach out to me. But I just want to thank you all for being here. DJ B-Sec, thank you for being here. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. I got to run. I hope you're taking care of each other. My name is Jesse J. All of you are Slate Security Plus. Until the next time, as